If the world hates you, just remember that it has hated me first. If you belong to the world, then the world would love you as its own. But I chose you from this world, and you do not belong to it. That is why the world hates you. Whoever hates me, hates my father also. They would not have been guilty of sin if I had not done among them the things that no one else has done. As it is, they have seen what I did, and they hate both me and my father. They hated me for no reason at all.
Hello and welcome, everybody. We are here live, One Piece 1154 short summary spoilers, which it is a banger chapter this week. Awesome stuff coming in, along with, it's not only just, the small little brief picture that we get every week, but it's also a whole bunch of separate pictures, a whole bunch of separate tweets, a whole bunch of separate posts. There's actually a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. How are we doing today, everybody? God bless Vincent. God bless One Piece CCG, Karu and L. God bless, as well as others. If you are here, make yourself known. Zedeko, God bless you, brother. If you are here, make yourself known. Do all the YouTube stuff, guys. You guys already know. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. So you don't miss future spoilers, future content, guys. Okay. Make sure you guys do all the YouTube stuff. It's important so we can grow the channel, grow the community. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hope you guys are doing great. Eric, God bless. Hope everyone's feeling amazing. Hope everyone's doing great. Hope you guys have been eating some good food, drinking water, getting exercise, working, learning, all of these things that keep us growing and moving forwards. I hope you guys have been blessed in all capacity. Hope you guys have been happy. Hope you guys have been successful. Hope you guys have been winning and growing and exceeding in all domains, on all fronts. I'm actually pretty excited to talk about this chapter spoilers. Lots of very interesting stuff going on. And I heard there's also no break next week, which is great. You guys know, like, past few years, we've been getting so many breaks. This year, we've been getting a lot of breaks. It sucks. Obviously, we love Oda. Obviously, we see Oda as a human. We want him to be healthy. We want him to spend time with his family. Of course, we subscribe to all of those things. But being that we are lovers and true fans of his material, it still hurts to go on these breaks. Shout out to Young Smokey. God bless you, my brother. He says, yup, no break next week. 3 chapters in a row. Love to see it. Awesome, bro. Hopefully for the next while, for as long as possible, we could keep getting 3 chapters break. Hopefully we could go on the 3 chapter stretches. But you guys let me know. When you guys are prepared, when you guys are ready to start talking about 1164. Let me know when you guys are ready to start talking about the spoilers. I don't mind just checking in with you guys really quick. Checking in on you guys, seeing how you guys are doing, how you guys have been, letting people flow into the stream. I don't mind just chopping it up for a few minutes because we're going to be going for a while. A lot of things are going to change about the anime soon. Yeah, so I recently heard and I saw, right? Shout out to Young Smokey. He was posting this on my Discord server. If you guys aren't in my Discord, use !Discord. and you'll be able to join my server. But Smokey recently posted major news. Starting from 2026, One Piece anime will switch to 26 episodes per year. Now, I don't know how long, Toei and Shueisha are going to want to do this for, because this might actually hurt the One Piece community. It might hurt sales. It might hurt Crunchyroll subscriptions. This is, generally speaking, less anime episodes a year than chapters a year. We've spoken on this many times. I've pointed out that right now, guys, One Piece only gets about 34 chapters a year. So, if we're going to sit there and talk about One Piece is going to end in 2 years, you're pretty much saying One Piece is going to end in 68 chapters. I think that's complete nonsense. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, bro. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe somehow, some way, we get Laugh Tale, pre-Final War, Final War, Epilogue, not including other arcs. And we get all that within the span of 68 chapters. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. I think that's completely unfeasible. I don't think that makes any sense. But I'm going off on a random tangent here. My point is that 34 chapters a year, not that much in the grand scheme of things. You look in the anime news. They're only going to want to do 26 episodes a year. What is that, like one? Is that like one episode every 2 weeks? And people are saying like, oh, well, what if the episodes are like an hour long? That's another thing. I could be wrong. I could be flat out wrong, but I highly doubt that as well. I highly doubt that's going to be the case. I bet that anime episodes are going to be 30 minutes long. They're probably going to want to put a bunch of quality into it, work on the animations, sound effects, all that kind of stuff. Maybe up the quality. But I think trying to argue for an hour-long episode, I think they would end up, wouldn't that just end up causing more effort to have like a super high-quality episode at an hour long versus like breaking them up? Isn't breaking them up going to make it easier? 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Zebek is in my top 3 list right now. This guy's absolutely amazing in back-to-back chapters. Now I understand why Loki worshipped him. So when you say he's in your top 3, I'm guessing you mean in terms of like narrative, like in terms of how good of a character he is, not in terms of strength. Is that what you're talking about in this particular comment? Chief, God bless, bro. What anime doing hour-long episodes? I don't know. There's probably some anime out there that does that. I don't really know people's argument for 1 hour episodes. I think, I'm not going to lie, I think that's wishful thinking. I think that's some strong wishful thinking. Lucas, God bless you, bro. Glad to see you, man. Zebek is a 10 out of 10 character. Love Zebek. He's in my top 7. I think Zebek's awesome. I don't really have complaints about Zebek as a character, personally. I think he's really cool. I think Oda made him a lot more interesting than I anticipated. I don't know. It's sad, though. A piece of me thinks it's sad because whenever we get these really good characters into the narrative, into the story, it's like we forget how great other characters were at the time. Like, you don't really see people talking about Kyros anymore when Kyros is actually a phenomenal character. You don't see people talking about Odin anymore, right? But if you guys are like in the zone, you guys are like in the moment reading the story, and you're reading Dressrosa and you're seeing Kyros and all of that's fresh in your mind, you tend to think that Kyros is awesome, one of the best characters. You tend to think that Odin's one of the best characters. You guys get what I'm saying? So after, it's been some time since Dressrosa, it's been some time since Wano, and we get like these new characters, we're always going to be like, oh, this guy's top 3. But like we said that back with Odin, you know, we said that back with Kyros. But since those, you know, arcs, those chapters, it's been so long, it's like I have this theory. I was talking about this like a while ago. I have this theory where you can have or read something or see something so amazing, but over time, it either grows to something way better than you remember or not as good as you remember. I have that theory, bro. And I feel like that happens even in One Piece. It happens both ways. Like, you read Enizabi or you read Wano, right? And then when the arc ends, when you try to remember back at Enizabi, you think that the arc was way better than it actually was. Or you look back in Wano and you think Wano is way worse than it actually was. It's like, with that lack of memory, you're not able to parse through the things that you liked and disliked as easily as you reading it in the moment. You know, because like, I would say Enizabi is probably my favorite arc, or at least top 3. But there were chapters in Enizabi, there were fights in Enizabi that just wasn't like that impactful, or that just wasn't that exciting or anything. That just felt like kind of like a drag. Like Luffy versus Lucci, that really dragged on. It's the nostalgia conundrum. Yeah, I think I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's exactly what it is. The nostalgia conundrum. What's up, Evo? Quick Bible verse. A fool says in his heart there is no God. Yo, God bless Ewok. Very true. We need to help. We need to evangelize better. We need to pray for people more. We need to know how to reach people's hearts and how to plant those seeds, you know? Because, like, while I do agree with that, you can't really evangelize and show someone the love and glory of Christ if you just walk up to them and you're like, yo, bro, you're a fool. Like, they're not going to be very receptive. Now, it is a bit different. Like, let's say, like, you're talking to a friend. Maybe you both are already, like, I don't know, maybe you're both already Christian, and then you, like, give your true thoughts on something that you wouldn't necessarily express to someone that's not Christian. That might be a little different. But, I mean, there is truth to that. Like, when you look at the early philosophers, those guys believed in an unmoved mover. Those guys believed in an uncaused first cause. That makes a lot more sense, you know. Once you deny God, like, there's people don't realize how many problems start to fester because of that. God bless, bro. Marineford is my favorite. Proves everything can't go your way. Luffy despairs after Ace's death. Yeah. Marineford, you hit the nail on the head right there. Not everything's going to go your way. Missed the last stream. Spoilers been going crazy. Why were you out of town when coincidentally there was a heist in the Louvre? The Louvre. What's the Louvre? I don't even know what that is. The Louvre? Oh, there was a jewel heist. No, it definitely wasn't me. Why was I out of town when there was a jewel heist? I don't know, bro. It wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it. My pastor used to encourage us to bring a friend to church, usually a youth group. They used to encourage us to try and bring a new friend every week. That's actually pretty good. Bringing your friend to church is actually pretty good. But, you know, for me, this just is my own personal opinion. And then we're going to get onto the spoilers, right? Because I don't want to leave Smokey hanging. For me, right? When I think about, like, trying to evangelize, and, you know, I think about, like, well, maybe if I bring this person to church, right? From, like, my point of view, right? This is just me, and maybe my view and my opinion will change in the future. I feel like it would be kind of like, it'd be kind of like, bringing someone into the middle of something that they probably wouldn't understand at all. I feel like that would be like, you really want to get your friend into One Piece, and then, like, I don't know, like, you show them, like, the smack dab middle of an episode. Like, I can see where you're going with that, but, like, I think there will be, like, a lot of disconnection there. Like, they won't really know what's going on. They won't really understand what's being spoken about and stuff like that. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think it's negative. I don't think it's like toxic, you know. Everyone's different, you know. I'm sure like people here who are Christian or people here that believe in God, I'm pretty sure you guys have or had a much different journey than myself. Like my journey, it wasn't me just like, you know what, I'm gonna go to church and then that happened. Like I had to work my way to that. But that's just me. Not everyone's the same. So that's why we have to be honest salesmen in a way if you think about it. We got to know each person's personality, their experiences, what they're going through to see how to tap into them, you know. But anyways, chat, let's begin. One Piece 1164 brief spoilers. And these brief spoilers, I should say. Oh, whoops. And these brief spoilers are brought to you by Young Smokey, right? Yeah, brought to us by Young Smokey and I think Pew Piece maybe. We're starting with a banger note right at the beginning. Zebek thinks that Davy Jones was the former king of the world. All right, so chat, I'm going to ask you guys because I already know like people get so butthurt and they get annoyed, whatever. Do you guys want me to read all of the spoilers, then talk about points in the spoilers? Or that's option one, right? Read through it all, then talk about points. Or do you guys want me to read a point, talk about it a lot, then move on to the next point? What do you guys prefer? Ones and twos in the chat. One, read the whole spoilers without stopping. Then we go and I point out things in the spoilers and chop it up and talk about it. Or two, read the spoilers and I engage with it point by point. I want to know. Thoughts on the 19 Kings being Emu theory and Will of Davy? Yeah, so see, I want to respond to that. But firstly, let's do the one or two. I'm going to say it one more time. I would love if everyone here just voiced what you prefer and I'll go with what the chat says, okay? I want to give you guys content that you love, content that you prefer. Option one, read through all the spoilers, then discuss. Or option two, discuss each point one by one. Go ahead, drop your votes. I mean, you might have to put a poll in the comment or in the comment section, actually. We got one, we got two, we got one. So it looks like it's even. It looks like it's even. Half of you guys want the spoilers point by point. Half of you guys want me to read them all, then go through the spoilers discussion. Okay, Jordan said two. I think he's so far a tiebreaker. Okay, Jordan so far is the tiebreaker. L also said two. All right, we'll do two, which is point by point. All right, point by point. So let's start with this one. Zebek thinks that Davy Jones was the former king of the world. Very interesting stuff. Where can we go from here? Can we dive into the idea that I've posed before? Probably other people. I'm not saying I'm the only one. I don't know who else would have said this. Probably some dude on Reddit. Can we explore the idea that Davy Jones is Joy Boy? Can we explore that idea and see if this works, if this makes any sense? Well, firstly, let's go under the idea that Zebek is right. Let's say Roxy Zebek is correct and Davy Jones was the first king of the world, or at least the former king of the world. Right? Let's break this down and make it easier to understand. Actually, I might need a drawing board, chat. I might need some way to draw this. Hold on. Let me try something. I'm going to try to share my screen, chat. Hold on. Oh, wait, but I won't be able to see the chat. All right, you guys are gonna have to picture this in your mind. You guys are gonna have to use your intellect today, okay? Okay, let's assume that Roxy Zebek is correct and that Davy Jones was the former king of the world. Well, then if we posited the idea that Davy Jones and Joy Boy are the same person, then we would necessarily have to say that Joy Boy was the former king of the world. Right? Do you guys follow? Chief says convinced there are two different people. Okay, look, you can believe anything you want. I just want to go through mental exercises, chat. I want to take you guys through mental exercises so that all of us can have the best takes, the best theories, the best arguments, the best points. So save your takes right now. If you think that Joy Boy and Davy Jones are two different people, yo, hold to that all you want. I completely respect that. But for sake of discussion, for sake of just breaking this down, follow me and let's do some mental exercises. Okay? Follow along, chat. Follow along. Let's say that Roxy Zebek thinks that Davy Jones is the former king of the world because it's true. Let's assume it's correct and let's assume it's true. If someone held the belief that Joy Boy and Davy Jones were the same person, then that necessarily means that they believe Joy Boy was the former king of the world, right? You guys follow the logic, right? Let me say it one more time. Let's assume Zebek thinks that Davy Jones was the former king of the world because it's true. Let's assume it's true. If someone believed that Davy Jones and Joy Boy were the same person, then they would necessarily have to believe that Joy Boy was the former king of the world. So the problem with that logic is that we know during the Egghead Island arc that Emeth said he apologizes, he's sorry to Joy Boy because Joy Boy was not, he failed to make Joy Boy king. You see? So under that thinking, you either have to say, no, fine. You have two options here, chat. If you followed along with that, you only have two options. Either you say, no, actually, fine. I concede. Joy Boy and Davy Jones are two separate people because we know that Emeth failed to make Joy Boy king. Or you go back to the root problem and you say, oh, no, actually, Zebek is wrong. Davy Jones, aka Joy Boy, wasn't the former king. But then that seems a little strange because then you would have to argue, well, why was Zebek wrong? How did he get that idea? And don't get me wrong, it's possible that there's a scenario, there's something that happened in Zebek's past, there's some type of history out there that misconstrued the legend and made Roxy Zebek believe that Davy Jones was the former king when in reality he wasn't. That's possible, but I find that to be rather unlikely. And chat, you guys let me know what you think on this. Just, I want you guys, if anything, let's just go through the mental exercises together. You guys don't have to subscribe to this. You guys don't have to believe that Zebek is correct. You don't have to believe he's incorrect. You don't have to believe that Joy Boy is Davy Jones. You don't have to believe that they're not. I just want us to go through mental exercises so we can see every view and get all of the bases covered, considered all perspectives, then we choose the best perspective. That's the best way of going about these things. God bless you, Viswa. That's the best way of going about these things. Understanding each position, understanding each perspective. Like if we play a game of chess, who's someone I could pick out in chat? Yo, Dean's Life. Let's say me and you were playing chess. I'm the white pieces, you're the black pieces. Okay, I'm white, you're black. Am I gonna make a move on the chessboard considering one move at a time? Like when you make a move, do I only consider a move by my pawn? Or do I consider the move by the bishop, a move by a knight, a move by a rook, a move by a queen? What do? I should be considering all perspectives, all lanes of knowledge, all lines of reasoning. Okay, so let's go back to the conversation. if you think that Zebek is correct in his assumption or his belief that Davy Jones was a former king of the world, but then you simultaneously believe that Joy Boy and Davy Jones are the same person, you have to somehow reconcile the fact that Emeth said he failed to make Joy Boy a king. Now, perhaps another outlet, another way out, I'll give you guys the golden bridge if you guys believe this, is you could say, well, no, all of that is true. It's true. Zebek said Davy Jones is the former king of the world because it's true. Davy Jones is Joy Boy, and Emeth said that he failed to make Joy Boy king. All three are true without a contradiction. The only way that would work is if Emeth meant king in a different way. But I think that's rather unlikely. It could be the case that maybe Joy Boy, he's Davy Jones, right? He was the former king of the world, but Emeth was like, yo, I failed to make you king in the sense of the king of the ancient kingdom. But then that'd be rather unlikely. Why would Joy Boy, who's supposed to be like from the ancient kingdom, or at least heavily associated with the ancient kingdom, how would he not be the king of the ancient kingdom, but he's the king of the world? Like, that just seems so strange. So that's why I think it's rather unlikely. So now that you guys understand this line of reasoning, you guys can have a proper view, a proper perspective on if this is the proper assumption or a good theory or not. When you assume that Zebek is correct when he says that Davy Jones is a former king of the world, and then you also hold that Joy Boy and Davy Jones are the same person. Me, myself, I think this is rather unlikely. I think this is rather improbable. I don't think that this would work. So there must be another viewpoint. We should look at all of the premises that I've laid out. One, is Zebek right in his belief? That's one. We have something to work with. We don't have to completely guess, right? We have parameters. We have a fence around the backyard. Is Zebek right in his belief? And two, how do we look at Joy Boy and Davy Jones? The issue about the Roman Catholic faith is the devotion to Mary and the graven images they literally bow down to. All right, Altair, I would invite you to come into the open mic so we can have a friendly chat, a friendly discussion. Firstly, I don't see what the problem of this devotion to Mary is. We see in the Council of Ephesus, the true Church of Christ disconnected and separated and divided from the false churches known as Protestantism. We see that the true Church of Christ, through the Council of Ephesus, through the anathematizing and the excommunication and Nestorius, they deemed that Mary is properly named the Mother of God. Why? Because Jesus Christ's humanity and his divinity are inseparable. They cannot be divided. And St. Cyril presiding over Ephesus was 100% correct on that belief. So therefore, if a Catholic says that Mary is the Mother of God and you get mad about that, then you're just basically a heretic. Why should we listen to you? This was already solved 1,000 years ago. Now, secondly, someone might say like, oh, well, you pray to Mary. Traditionally speaking, in the Christian early church, the true church before any major schisms, they believed in the veneration of saints. They believed that prayer is asking. It's asking of. But over time with the Protestant Reformation and just pretty much anyone just starting their own church and creating their own gospel and their own Christianity, they watered that down to where when they hear the word prayer, they automatically think to God. Catholics don't believe that Mary's God. No one would ever subscribe to that. The point is that we believe we can call on the saints in heaven, especially the Mother of God, to intercede for us. Just like how I can ask you to pray for me, I can ask a saint or Mary to pray for me. And then lastly, and I could go further beyond that, but graven images, that was already dealt with in councils as well. We're not worshiping an image. We're looking at an image to remind ourselves about God, looking at an image to glorify God. We're not worshiping an image. We're not worshiping a statue. You're literally just making something up and saying like, oh, look, you believe this. No, we don't believe that. Like, these are the types of things that make people convert to the Catholic Church because they hear these outlandish claims Then they go and read the early church, and then they realize it's all garbage. All of that's untrue. It's literally not true. It's just straw man's. And then they convert to the Catholic Church. So the will of D is will of Davy. Okay, so good question. I'm going to answer this really quick. Then I want to go back to the logic about Davy Jones believing that, or I'm sorry, Zebek believing that Davy Jones is the king of the world. So, which by the way, Altair, God bless you. No ill will to you, bro. So will of D being Davy, I think that's also rather unlikely, and it seems like things in the story would be rather redundant. I think it'd be rather redundant. It'd be kind of silly, right? Because let's think of it like this, right? You're saying the will of D is Davy. Well, Luffy has the will of D, right? Blackbeard has the will of D. Law has the will of D. I don't know. Garp has wait. Blackbeard has the will of D? Isn't Blackbeard actually Zebek's son? He is. What did Zebek recently tell us? That his name isn't Roxy Zebek. That it's Davy D. Jones. Do you see the problem we're gonna run into? If you believe that the will of D is will of Davy, then you're pretty much saying that like everyone from the Davy clan, Blackbeard, Zebek, Eris, you're pretty much saying that their name is Davy Teach. Davy Zebek. Davy Eris. Pretty much the entire Davy clan. That seems like so strange. That seems so weird that like it doesn't really fit the bill. It seems rather that the Davy clan is a sect of the D clan. The Davy lineage, the Davy family is a part of the D clan. You see what I'm saying, bro? Now, let me pose this to you as well. We know that Ace, we know through Marineford and especially Dressrosa, we know that Ace had his will passed on to Sabo. Right? We know that Sabo inherited Ace's will, along with Luffy. Sabo and Luffy, whichever one you want to point to as being the majority, that's neither here nor there. But what's my point here? If Sabo inherited the Ace of Will, or I mean, sorry, the Ace of Will. If Sabo inherited the will of Ace, does that mean that the will of D is Ace? No, that doesn't follow. See, now the only reason why someone would say like, oh, the will of D must be the will of Davy is because Davy starts with D. But are we really going to say that like Luffy's biggest pirate antagonist is Davy Teach? That's such a weird name. Davy Zebek. I don't know about that, but you guys let me know. Young Smokey with the membership. God bless you. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you tremendously. Altair, message me on Discord, Instagram, Twitter. We could chop it up. We could learn from each other, man. I'm no better than you. So let's go back to the Davy Jones being the former king of the world conversation. So as we explored, chat, it seems rather unlikely that Davy Jones was the former king of the world and he was Joy Boy, because we see that Joy Boy was said to have not become a king in the words of Emeth. But simultaneously, Davy Jones was the king of the world. So if Davy Jones was Joy Boy, why would Emeth say, oh, Joy Boy, I'm sorry I failed to make you king? That doesn't make any sense. So we have to reevaluate our position. Our next position would be, okay, maybe Davy Jones and let's say Davy Jones and Joy Boy, they are the same person, right? But Zebek is wrong when he says he thinks that that Davy Jones was the former king of the world. Now, actually, that would actually would seem very strange. Can anyone tell me why? I'll say it again. Let's say hypothetically we're only exploring these paths so we could determine the best position to hold, chat. Let's say hypothetically Joy Boy and Zebek, they were the same person. But the thing is that Zebek is wrong. Davy Jones wasn't the former king of the world. Do you guys see why that would actually be rather strange? Can anyone tell me? Why would that be weird? I think that it would sound weird because Zebek, not only trying to become king of the world, trying to follow in the footsteps of Davy Jones, being treated like he's Davy Jones by Emu, would somehow get that wrong. It doesn't seem like the narrative would be cohesive. It doesn't seem like the narrative would be consistent. Remember, back during 965, 966, 967, we see how we're told Zebek was trying to become king of the world. Fast forward to the recent 10, 15 chapters. Zebek is trying to fight Emu. Zebek's trying to take down Emu. Zebek's trying to become king of the world. We see Emu looking at Zebek saying, yo, you must be Davy Jones. Thou art Davy Jones. It seems like it would be so strange that this guy who is gunning for king of the world, this guy who is from the Davy clan, from God Valley, with all of this intel, would somehow get that wrong. Don't you think that'd be strange? Where would he even get that idea from? How would you accidentally believe that someone was the king of the world? It's actually super taboo that Emu's the king of the world. So I think if you went under that belief that Zebek is wrong, Davy Jones wasn't the king of the world, and Davy Jones and Joy Boy are the same person, I think that would also have its fair issues. Now let's look at a third position, chat. Let's look at a third position. Let's say Zebek was correct, believing that Davy Jones was the former king of the world, because Davy Jones was. But here's the difference. Davy Jones and Joy Boy were different people. Does that have any problems? I don't think it does. I don't think it does. Again, Emeth said he apologizes. He's sorry because he failed to make Joy Boy king. So clearly Joy Boy wasn't a king. Plus, Joy Boy was the first pirate. Plus, we know that the term Pirate King was coined by Big News Morgan. We can't sit here and say oh, well, Joy Boy was the first Pirate King. How? That would literally be by complete chance, because Big News Morgan, he's not reading poneglyphs. He's not searching the taboo history. He made up the idea of Pirate King. Even the Roger pirates, who literally went to Laughtail and learned the full history of the world, even they were surprised about the term Pirate King. So it seems unlikely that Joy Boy was even a Pirate King. Plus, really, he's the Pirate King, but he's the first pirate. So you're the king of the thing that only you do. That's like saying, yeah, I'm the king of chess, but I'm the only guy that plays chess. That's so strange. Joy Boy was he might have been pretty much the only pirate if they're calling him the first pirate. He was either the only pirate or there were very, very, very few pirates. You guys see the line of logic that we're going through here? So I say all that to say that if you believe that Davy Jones was in fact the former king of the world, and Davy Jones and Joy Boy are separate entities, you can actually hold a consistent position. And if you guys disagree, hey chat, feel free to disagree. Feel free to refute that position. Refute it. I want to know the best position, chat. I want to know the best take. I want to have the most accurate prediction. But as I see it, I don't see any holes in that thinking. Now, we would have to get over the hurdle of How was Davy Jones king of the world? If that's true, then that means Emu usurped Davy Jones, which in actuality, that would actually make sense. That would make sense, because what did we see recently, Smokey? What did we see recently, Altair, MD Luffy? What did we just see in 1063? Or I'm sorry, 1163? Could Emu be Nika? No chance. Luffy's Nika because of the fruit. What do we just see in 1163? Emu calling Blackbeard, or I'm calling Zebek Davy Jones. That's only possible if Davy Jones existed in the past. Davy Jones had to have died before. So that's one thing. The second thing is, by you asking Zebek if he's Davy Jones, you necessarily believe Davy Jones is coming back, right? Are you guys following? If you did not believe that Davy Jones was going to come back, like how Joy Boy was going to come back, why would you ask Zebek if he's Davy Jones? How does that make any sense? Let me say it one more time for the people that might disagree on one or two premises of mine, wherever. If Emu did not believe that Davy Jones is going to come back, why would he ask Zebek if he was Davy Jones? That doesn't make any sense. So it seems to me that Emu believes Davy Jones is going to come back. Now, here's the thing. Why would Emu be so afraid of Davy Jones coming back? Maybe because Emu is afraid that Davy Jones is going to reclaim his throne. The reason why Emu is so afraid of Davy Jones, has a poster of Blackbeard tearing it up, asks Zebek if he's Davy Jones, says that his whole lineage needs to be wiped out so the promise doesn't come true, remember in 1163, is probably because Emu does not want Davy Jones to come back and reclaim his throne. Emu usurping Davy Jones makes a lot of sense, especially since Domi Reversi seems like a warped version of the Davy back fights. That's insane. I never thought of it like that. The Domi Reversi and like the black portals or whatever on the ground grabbing people. Do you think Harold showed Zebek the mural? Probably not, man. I think Harold was rather careful around Zebek. Okay, so now that we've discussed all that, chat, I am shifting my position, because I used to wonder, you guys know this, I used to wonder if Joy Boy and Davy Jones were the same person. Now that we went through the logic and we analyzed the pros and cons to the three major lines of reasoning, I believe it's rather unlikely that Davy Jones and Davy Jones and Joy Boy were the same person. I believe you run into multiple problems when you subscribe to that. But then I also simultaneously, it seems to me that Zebek being wrong with Davy Jones being the former king also kind of holds a rocky position. You're building your house on the sand. Especially, again, as I just said, when you couple that with the fact that Zebek and Emu are alluding to some kind of promise that Davy Jones made. Davy and Joy Boy were not the same person. Why would Rox ask Emu that? Wait, what do you mean? Davy and Joy Boy were not the same person. Why would Rox ask Emu that? Wait, what are you talking about? Davy Jones was from the first world. The will of D is tied to Davy Jones, and it is inherited by Joy Boy in the second world. and Luffy in the third world now. Davy Jones equals Nika. I don't know, bro. When I think about Davy Jones and putting curses on people, and if you try to get real life folklore and Pirates of the Caribbean, he seems to me to be like an antithesis to the sun god. So I think that Davy Jones is most likely not Joy Boy. If I'm wrong on that, right, I'll actually be shocked. I don't even know how Oda would work that out. Because how was Joy Boy not king, but then king of the world? And we know he wasn't Pirate King either. So it sounds like Davy Jones and Joy Boy were not the same person. And it seems that Xebec is right. He's probably right. Davy Jones was the former king of the world. Was that through an evil means? Was Luffy the epitome? Is Luffy the epitome of Joy Boy, the epitome of Nika? But then Blackbeard is the epitome of Davy Jones. Is Davy Jones the timeline of Blackbeard that wins? Let's continue with the spoilers. Xebec completely transforms to a demon after trying to fight it back. Xebec defeats Big Mum and Kaido. Yo, I know a British dude wrote this. Kuma saves Eris and Teach using his devil fruit by sending them off. W. Kuma. We love to see it. Imu orders Rox to kill everyone on the island. Rox tells Garp and Roger to kill him. Garp and Roger versus Xebec starts. Sorry I didn't have much time to write the proper brief, but chat, we're going to go through. There's more spoilers than this picture. So let's actually go through and read more spoilers. Okay, first one. Shiki stomps Ganzui and takes all the treasure. We see John seriously injured but alive, but we don't know if Ganzui is just defeated or dead. Okay, not really much to talk about there. When Xebec becomes a demon, he attacks Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard simultaneously. He hurls Kaido into the mountain while kicking Big Mom and attacking Whitebeard. Whitebeard versus Xebec is so insane that part of God Valley is destroyed. This is pretty sick, chat. This is pretty insane. Not much. I mean, I don't have much to add to this. You know, this is going to be one of those action-packed moments that we kind of want to just look at. I mean, there's not really anything of substance to discuss here. Okay, now here's another critical point, guys. Here's another critical point. Xebec tells Imu that Davy Jones was the true king of the world. That one day, someone will fulfill the will of Davy. He then asks Imu if he's more afraid of Joy Boy or Davy Jones. Now, this is kind of reaffirming what we were just discussing. This is reaffirming what we just discussed. Look, Xebec is asking Imu if he's more afraid of Davy Jones or Joy Boy. If Davy Jones and Joy Boy were the same person, you have to then also, don't forget, chat, we just brought up rebuttals to that. I just presented a refutation to that, to you guys. I just gave you a refutation. But if you have answers for that refutation, you also have to answer this. If Joy Boy and Davy Jones were the same person, why is Roxy Xebec separating them? You see? You see? And I want you guys to take, I want you guys to, is it take heed or follow heed? Follow suit? I want you guys to follow suit. Chat, I am not your teacher. I am not your role model. I am not a perfect person. But I do want you guys to follow suit in a way. Because it's okay, chat, if we hold a mistaken position. it's okay if we have a bad theory that's pretty much debunked. We have to be honest with ourselves when a belief is just erroneous, when a belief is just inconsistent steps. So for me, I was holding to the belief, or at least a possibility, that Davy Jones and Joy Boy were the same person. But after reading this chapter and the previous, it seems extremely unlikely that is the case. So I'm willing to shift my perspective. And that's what I want you guys to follow in. Chat, I don't want us to be hard-headed. I don't want us to have a theory or have a take, right? And as it's falling apart and we can see that it doesn't work, it doesn't make any sense, it's not consistent, it's inconsistent, we just hold on to it and cling on to it for dear life. Well, we know very well there are holes in the belief. There's holes in the take. We have to be honest with ourselves. Now, I do want to touch base on this Will of Davy because I was talking about this earlier in the stream, and maybe a lot of the viewers here right now were not watching the stream at that point. So chat, someone earlier asked me, can the Will of D be Davy, the Will of Davy? But notice the context here. Notice the context here, guys. Notice the context here. Now, I'm going to ask a question to you guys in the chat, and I'm going to see how honest you guys are. I'm going to see how consistent you guys are. I'm going to see how real you guys are. I'm going to read this again. Zebek tells Emu that Davy Jones was the true king of the world. That's one day someone will fulfill the will of Davy. Let me ask you guys something here. One in the chat, if Zebek is talking about Davy Jones, and two in the chat if he's talking about the Will of D. When Zebek tells Emu that Davy Jones was the true king of the world, is he talking about Davy Jones or is he talking about the Will of D? I want to see how honest, how real, and how consistent you guys are. Because this right here is going to be the crux of why people are arguing Will of D is Davy. This right here. He's not talking about the Will of D, chat. He's talking about Davy Jones. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about the Will of D. So what is the point with this? It's the same thing earlier that I said with Ace. Luffy and Sabo inherited the, quote, Will of Ace. Luffy inherited the, quote, Will of Roger. Does that mean the Will of D is the Will of Roger? Does that mean that the Will of D is the Will of Ace? No. You can... it should be very clear, chat, that inheriting a character's will is disconnected from, like, the Will of D. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Even if those members are members of the D clan. Roger is a member of the D clan. Gold D Roger. But yet Luffy inherited Roger's will. So does that mean the Will of D's will of Roger? Ace is Porgus D Ace. Gold D Ace. Whichever you prefer. Ace is a D clan member. Does that mean that the D clan is the will of Ace? The context here, chat, when he's talking about the Will of Davy, is Davy Jones. And this is what I was pointing at in the previous conversation. There's a promise. We just said this in the last stream. There's a promise. Davy Jones left a promise. He left a promise. Someone's going to inherit that promise. What is that promise, though? I think it's rather obvious. Emu knows Davy Jones was some dude centuries ago. Emu probably killed Davy Jones. Yet Emu will ask Blackbeard, hey, are you, or I keep saying Blackbeard. Yet Emu will ask, hey, Zebek, are you Davy Jones? Emu, why are you asking someone alive in front of you if he's Davy Jones, if you know that Davy Jones has been dead for centuries? Unless you believe that Davy Jones is going to come back. Like how you believe Joy Boy is going to come back. What's my point here? It seems to be that there was a promise from Davy Jones that he was going to come back. Especially because he was the king of the world. Davy Jones is probably getting usurped by Emu. Emu's the king of the world. We all know this. Davy Jones is the king of the world, getting usurped by Emu, and he left a promise. Just like Joy Boy. Joy Boy trying to win the Void Century, trying to save the Fishmans in the Fishman Island or whatever. He had to leave an apology. He had to leave a promise in a way. So it seems to me that Davy Jones and Joy Boy are not the same person. Davy Jones made a promise to come back because he's losing his throne. Davy Jones is promising he's going to come back. That's his promise. I promise I'm going to come back and I'm going to get my throne. That's what Emu's afraid of. That's why Emu tells Zebek. That's why Emu told Zebek that I'm going to erase your bloodline. I'm going to erase you guys. Oh, Zebek, you're telling me about a promise? I literally ask you if you're Davy Jones. You say no, but promises are meant to be kept. Yeah, the promise of Davy Jones coming back. Yeah, that's exactly why I need to erase the Davy clan, because I don't want Davy Jones to come back. Are you guys following, chat? I see you guys over here yapping. I see you guys over here in the chat. You guys are yapping. I want to know who here is paying attention. I want to know who here is getting the sauce. I want to know who here is understanding the line of reason. Am I acting as a voice of reason for you guys right now? So when we think about all that, why does it have to be the case that when Zebek is talking about the will of Davy, that he has to be referring to the Davy clan? Or I'm sorry, the will of D. No, he's talking about Davy Jones. That's why he says the will of Davy. Just how there's a will of Roger and a will of Joy Boy and the will of Nika and the will of Odin and the will of this and the will of that. There's a million wills going on. It's not only the will of D. It's just a coincidence that the Davy Jones, his name starts with the letter D. Which, by the way, another problem just occurred to me. Queen Lily, Princess Lily of the Alabasta Kingdom, she had an established relationship with Joy Boy. There's arguments to be made that Queen Lily helped spread the D clan, helped spread the D initial, alongside Joy Boy, in relation to Joy Boy, pointing to Joy Boy. Where does Davy Jones come into any of this for Queen Lily? What does Davy Jones have anything to do with that? It seems that Davy Jones is disconnected from Queen Lily, Princess Lily. It seems like as a One Piece fan base, as a community, everyone up until now was willing to believe that Joy Boy was the founder of the D clan. Are we going to be throwing this out now? Because, well, Davy starts with a D, so it must be Will of Davy. Joy Boy wants to fulfill a dream while Davy Jones wants revenge. A dream chaser scares Emu more than a get-backer, as Joy Boy could amass more allies than Davy Jones. Yeah, I think what we are witnessing is the return of Davy Jones in Blackbeard, the return of Joy Boy in Luffy. Especially with that ominous message. That ominous message. That Rocksteady Zebek gave Emu in the flower room. I will be back. I'm willing to bet my last penny that was intentional. He purposely, it was a double entendre. Let me put it that way. Zebek telling Emu I will be back is a double entendre. He's referencing Davy Jones coming back. Simultaneously, he's talking about himself coming back. He wants to take down Emu. Do you think Will of D will be of Dreams or Dawn or something like that instead? God bless you, L. Thank you for the great question. Hope you're doing good, bro. L, been praying for you, man. Do you think the Will of D will be Dreams or Dawn or something like that? I actually don't. And my view, my take, my position, it might change. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I don't mind changing my position. Right now, I currently believe that the Will of D stands for something. Yes, it 100% stands for something, but not as an acronym. Instead, as a symbol. So, L, you might, just as an example, hypothetically, right? You might believe that the Will of D stands for something. And I believe that the Will of D stands for something. But you believe that the Will of D stands for something in an acronym, and I believe that the Will of D stands for something in a symbol. And because you believe that the Will of D stands for something in place of an acronym, you believe that it's Will of Dreams, Will of Demons, Will of Dawn, whatever. Will of Dawn, whatever, like DON, DAWN, like all these different variations. Destruction. You might hold on to that from an acronym point of view. I hold on to that from a symbolic point of view. I believe it has to deal with the symbol of a half moon. That's what I think it stands for. It stands for half moon, not the phrase half moon. I'm not saying it's an acronym. Like LOL is an acronym for laugh out loud. So most people would think that the Will of D is an acronym. Will of Dreams, Will of Dusk, Dawn, whatever. I think it's more fitting when we look at 1138's mural. When they talk about the people of the half moon, the lost remnants, I think the people of the half moon, those are the guys that are passing their will down. Those are the guys, that is the group that is going to have a prophecy fulfilled that Emu's afraid of. That's why Emu wants to destroy and eradicate the D-Clan. If Emu does not want the prophecies to be fulfilled in regards to Joy Boy, Davy Jones, Will of D, whatever, VV, the best way to do that is to erase the D-Clan. Then you won't have a Joy Boy or Davy Jones or a prophecy. He wants to overwrite prophecy. It's like when our Lord, it's like when Christ told us what was going to happen. He told the Jews what was going to happen, and people want to ignore it. It's divine revelation. There is a correction out right now for the end of the chapter. It's at the bottom, and I like it a lot. Okay, awesome. Let's continue with the spoilers then. It was a 3-on-1 situation, but Whitebeard was the only one who could block Zebek. The two clashed so violently that parts of the island mountains were shattered. Whitebeard versus Zebek is a much closer fight. The other fights we see this chapter, even though Zebek gets Domi reversed. Yo, Whitebeard is just prime Whitebeard upscale. A personal source mentioned that after this week's chapter, people will place Whitebeard way above Roger. Whitebeard uses his Devil Fruit and Hockey combined in this chapter. Zebek doesn't 3v1 Whitebeard, Roger, and Garp, but we get Zebek simultaneously attacking Kaido, Linlin, and Whitebeard. Whitebeard blocks it. The other two don't survive after. Well, I mean, we know they survived. They just got knocked out or something. Other two don't survive after one attack. Big Mom was defeated with one kick. Roger and Garp team up at the end at the request of Zebek. Chapter continues from last week's portion of Zebek growing fangs. Zebek's willpower is too strong for Emu to control. Emu couldn't fully turn Zebek into a demon even after using Domi Reversi. Zebek used sheer willpower to counter it. Zebek talks to Emu. Emu broke Zebek's will by saying that he will manipulate and Domi Reversi Herald to take over Elbaf under the world government's control for the first time in history. This made Zebek emotional due to loyalty with Herald. What a real one. What a real one. Zebek still has loyalty to Herald. He still has love for Herald. Thus, Zebek loses his will and gets fully Domi Reversi'd. So, chat, do we think that when you are too emotional, when your passions and your emotions are too ignited, too inflamed, that it makes it easier to get Domi Reversi'd? Because notice, Zebek was countering the Domi Reversi. Zebek used sheer willpower to counter the Domi Reversi. But as soon as Zebek became emotional, he loses his will. Is there some kind of emotional manipulation that needs to happen for Domi Reversi? If you're wondering how God Valley turns out, just know Emu sits on a throne with Joy Boy Straw. What? If you're wondering how God Valley turns out, just know Emu sits on a throne with Joy Boy Straw Hat. Wait, is that where Emu got Joy Boy Straw Hat from? Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, that confirms that it's Joy Boy Straw Hat. That was only a theory. If you're wondering how God Valley turns out, just know Emu sits on a throne with Joy Boy Straw Hat. What? Bro is flexing is flexing Joy Boy's fit. He stole his old swag. Bar for bar. So did you get the... Okay, firstly, this would confirm that the Straw Hat is Joy Boy's, which was only a theory. And you could sit there and be like, oh, bro, but evil. It was so obvious, bro. It was obvious. I don't care how obvious it was. This would confirm it. Secondly, does that mean, like, is there a possibility that Shamrock found that Straw Hat? Did he, like, put two and two together? Did Shamrock go to God Valley and realize, like, oh, wait, this is the home place of Joy Boy? Hey, we found the remnants of the ancient kingdom. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe God Valley is a remnant of the ancient kingdom. That's why it's filled with the D clan members. It's filled with Davy clan members. It has Joy Boy Straw Hat. Maybe God Valley and maybe God Valley is a remnant of the ancient kingdom. Generator with the $5. Thank you so much, brother. God bless you. And Smokey, you with the membership as well, bro. Generator asks, isn't being out of control of your emotions directly tied to Haki weakening? Maybe that's how Emu took over. I actually don't know. I'm actually not sure. Joy Boy got his chain snatched. God bless Stan. I'm actually not sure about that connection. I don't remember, and you might be right. I could just be forgetting. I don't remember a connection between the restraint of the passions tying into I don't know, success of Haki. I don't know. Actually, did Rayleigh teach that to Luffy? Did he try to like teach Luffy to calm down and be in the zone and not be emotional? That might have happened, actually. I'm not sure, JR Writer. That's something I'm gonna have to go look into. It makes sense. Like I could see, like it's plausible. I understand the logic, but I just don't remember if that's canon. You get what I'm saying? There's a connection to emotions in regards to observation hockey. Generator, you should go find some panels of that, because when we read this together and we see how this made Zebek emotional due to loyalty, and then all of a sudden he loses his will, it seems like Emu would want to ignite the passions. Emu would want to incite anger, incite heartbreak, and incite all of these disordered emotions within the human soul to then gain further control over them with the Domi Reversi. Which, by the way, does anyone know if black magic works similarly? Or demonic warfare, satanic warfare, spiritual warfare? Because I think that would make sense. The devil, Satan, through spiritual warfare, he can hold people captive when they have disordered passions, when they have disordered emotions. When you're like, for an example, Jarator, when someone's very angry, Satan will control them easier with that. Like we all kind of know this already. If someone is super depressed, Satan uses that and he controls them to make them do awful things. If someone's disordered in lust, right? Experiencing lust, the devil takes control of them, right? Luffy doesn't really have negative emotions, so Domi won't reverse it on him. Well, firstly, I would say Luffy does have negative emotions when we see like his reaction to well, actually, let me rewind. It depends what you, because I had like two things I wanted to say in response to this chat. I'm going out of order. Let me fix the order. I would start by asking you, what is a negative emotion? Because one person might say anger is a negative emotion. Another person might say, no, it's a good emotion. And then the third person might say that disordered anger is what's bad. So it really depends on what you mean by negative emotions. For me, I believe that anger is not a negative emotion. I believe that disordered anger is negative. I believe we ought to be angry at injustice. I believe if we are indifferent and insensitive to injustice and the suffering of others, that's actually a form of cowardice. So if you were angry at injustice, right, that would be ordered or orderly anger. But see, the problem is when we talk about anger, righteous anger. Yeah, see, you get what I'm saying, brother. So what was I saying? So when we talk, just on a day-to-day basis, right, and we're not having a deep conversation, and we talk about someone being angry, people usually associate a negative tone to it. But I feel like most people would agree that we ought to be angry at evil. We ought to hate evil. Mo, God bless you, bro. No, you're not. No, you're not. Yo, we actually went a long time without these crazy sus messages in chat, but now Mo's back on it. L with the $10. God bless you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, brother. Tremendously. Is this why Blackbeard doesn't want to have any close ties to any member of his crew? Does he know of this weakness? Does he feel that this is why his father failed? Oh, yo, chat, once in a while, this boy L will cook. You just got to let him troll and post nonsense for like 2 months, and then he'll come through and he'll drop a super banger like this. Hey, I think Blackbeard following in the footsteps of Zebek makes a lot of sense. I've always believed him following in the footsteps of Zebek made sense. Now, I would draw lines in the sand as to what Blackbeard would do or say to fall in line. But considering how we recently just learned that Blackbeard is the son of Zebek, that only further ignites the argument that he would want to learn from Zebek, right Zebek's wrongs, stuff like that. So when we talk about that narrative behind Blackbeard's character, and we think about what you're saying, him wanting to right Zebek's wrongs, correct Zebek where he failed, I think that makes a lot of sense. Mazel Tov, Eddie. When's the kid's bar mitzvah? Bro, ban this guy. Remove this guy's hammer. Remove his wrench, man. Someone unwrench Smokey, please. Thank you so much, Al. Chat, do you see how awesome of a super chat this is? And which, by the way, it's not even a super chat. It's a Stream Elements dono, which means YouTube's not taking all of it. What an absolute legend. God bless you, Al. I don't deserve you, bro. I really don't. Thank you, brother. Young legend. Thank you. I mean, I don't know what else to add, man. I mean, I see where you're coming from. I don't mind it. I don't dislike it. It makes sense. Blackbeard most likely wants to follow in the footsteps. Did I say Zebek? Blackbeard wants to follow in the footsteps of Zebek. He would want to right Zebek's wrongs. Wouldn't that include failures of Zebek? But my thing is like, L, my question to you, how did Blackbeard learn this intricacy? That would be my question. Because this seems like very specific. How did Blackbeard know, or how does Blackbeard know that the Domi Reversi takes control of the emotions? Is Blackbeard witnessing this right now? Like, is he watching this interaction between Emu and Zebek's getting Domi Reversi'd? And he's thinking like, oh, Zebek is getting emotionally manipulated. That's why the Domi Reversi's working. Like, I would want to know how exactly he learned of this mechanic of the Domi Reversi. Other than that, I like this. It makes sense, man. Let's not forget Jesus flipped tables and whipped people for selling animal sacrifices in his father's house. So not all anger is bad and sometimes necessary. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We don't want to overcorrect. We see overcorrection in all walks of life. I'm telling you, this is something that actually my wife opened my eyes up to. Chat, shout out to Dawn of Ascension. She opened up my eyes to this. Think about this, chat. I want you guys to start thinking about this. Like, as you live through life, as you work out, as you buy food, as you are at work, as you're studying, as you're at school, as you're talking to people, start paying attention and start noticing, guys, how often humans or society overcorrects. You'll have a problem, right? And a group of people, they're just in opposing that problem. But then in their pursuit of doing what's right, they overcorrect and create a new issue. And you know what makes it worse is if you tell that person, hey, I agree with you rebelling against Z problem. I just don't think the way you're going about it is flawless. I think there's a problem with what you're doing. Then they'll take it as you pretty much saying, oh, I'm defending the Z problem and you're wrong completely. You see? Like, this is something so dangerous, chat. And once you guys start paying attention to it and you guys start looking out for it, you're going to see this everywhere in life, bro. You guys are going to see this everywhere in life. People are overcorrecting in all types of things. And it's sad because it's going to keep us in this endless cycle of suffering. We're not going to be able to present meaningful, lasting solutions if we present flawed arguments and imperfect answers. LOL, bring back the meme of Evil saying I need to talk about a certain goal. I actually don't remember saying that, but that's actually funny. Are you talking about the Shamrock meeting in the Room of Authority? Oy vey, chosen people. We need to talk about a certain Goyim. Man, what's with the celestial dragons and the usury? Look what they did to Leloucia. All right. Seems like this is the last spoiler, guys. Actually, at the end of the chapter, Rox doesn't speak directly to Garp and Roger, who warned Rox not to attack their members, but rather they hear Rox's voice in mind, begging them to kill him. Is this a power from the voice of all things, or more likely Emu's power? Wow. Wow. I do not know what to think about that. Chat, any thoughts on this? They said actually at the end of the chapter, Rox doesn't speak directly to Garp and Roger, but rather they hear Rox's voice in their mind, begging them to kill him. Is this a power from voice of all things, or more likely Emu's power? That's actually... Well, if it was Emu's power, it might be neither of those options. Because if it's Emu's power, wow. Why would Emu's power allow a captive to speak to someone else? Shouldn't Emu's power prevent a captive from doing anything? Voice of all things, I don't know. Voice of all things. I think that's just a self-sacrifice on Zebek's part. Editing and marketing resume. God bless you, bro. Is Zebek being Rock's son officially expired? No, I don't think it's expired. The only way it would be expired is if you presented sufficient evidence to the argument of Zebek having only one child. Hope that answers the question. You put it on Discord. Evil meeting with the higher-ups to get El Leloucia'd. The Hall of Power, Pangea Castle. What do you want? Why do you come all this way? This is the Reverie. Given your standing, you should have nothing to do with politics. We only arrange this time on your request. You have Google, Netanyahu, Rabbi Shmuley, and YouTube. Let's hear what you have to say, guards. Leave us. Yes, sir. Shalom. There's a Goyim I need to talk to you about. L, you're so corny, bro. You're so corny. You are corny. Loki is cooked as he's a pretty angry guy unless his devil fruit hard counters don't be reversey. Oh, yeah, that's actually pretty true. That's actually pretty true. Loki's, you said it, you hit the nail on the head. Loki is an extremely angry guy, bro. I think Loki's the angriest character in the whole story. Yeah, bro, if he gets Domi reversied, it's over for him. He's fried. My bad, Eric reminded me of it. Yo, honestly, banish Eric and L to the Shadow Realm, please. What do we think the Florian Triangle monsters are? Friend or foe? Will the voice of all things affect them? Well, I can't say if it'll affect them if I don't know what they are. Secondly, those guys in the Florian Triangle that had like the wings and like the spikes or whatever, we know that those were actually people on Skypiea and their shadows were being casted down. Now, if you're talking about like that I don't remember what the shape is called. It's kind of like a star, I guess, that we saw in like what appeared to be a mountain in Thriller Bark. If you're referring to that as a monster, which I mean it could be. Again, I don't know what that is, so I don't know if the voice of all things would affect that. I feel like that stuff is a little hazy, you know. It's been so long. I don't know if Oda's ever going to go back to it. Eris could be 3 months pregnant, maybe pumped for Buggy Lore. Yo, that'd be nuts. Could you guys imagine like Oda presented Blackbeard as being the son of Zebek this whole time, and then when God Valley's over, it pans to Eris and she gives birth to Buggy? Dude, that'd be hilarious. But Blackbeard left, or maybe Blackbeard got separated from his brother. Because, like, I don't think Buggy was born with makeup on, right? So, like, if Buggy grew up and became a jester, how would Blackbeard know if that was his brother? You get what I'm saying? God bless Guts. Can't Blackbeard use pudding to get his old memories from God Valley? I think so. It's possible. It seems like it would be a little strange on paper, though. It'd be like, yo, Pudding, I need you to pull out the memories of my childhood that I have since forgotten. I mean, like, it's possible. It just feels weird, though. You know? Not saying that it's impossible. Roger found Laugh-Tale too early in order to set fate in motion. I don't know, man. Roger's kind of an L all around the board. Roger just kind of sucks. I'm telling you, we call him Goity Roger. Or at least I do. I think I'm the only one man enough to call him Goity Roger. If you guys want to prove to me you're a real man, you'll go in chat right now and you'll type Goity Roger. I bet you no one will do it. YouTube rejected your comment. Bro, what? YouTube rejected your comment. This usually means they think it's spam. What? Bro, I literally just tried to put Goity Roger and they rejected it. I mean, can you blame Loki for being pissed at Emu? This man killed his idol. His father stole the legendary yellow and is currently setting fire to his land while turning his people into demons. No, I mean, I don't blame Loki, which, by the way, Loki has even more reasons than that to be mad and angry at life. I don't blame Loki for being an angry man. I'm just saying the fact is that he's very angry. So if he was going to get Domi reversied, he'd be cooked. I don't necessarily believe that he's unnecessarily angry. Sup, bro? Who do you think is the most hated race? Buccaneer or Davy? Oh, I was thinking about real life. And why did Emu allow only the Monkey D family into the Marines? Could the Monkey family be the Joy Boy traders? I have no idea, bro. I'm glad to see you here. God bless you, man. I have no idea why he would let the Monkey D family in. Maybe he didn't realize that Garp was a D clan member. Then he realized and he was like, whatever, Garp's a good asset. Keep him. But then again, he let Dragon in as well. I have no idea. I really don't know, bro. I really don't know. Most hated race? I also don't know because you see how Emu and the Gorsei talk about the Buccaneers, then you see how they talk about the Davy clan. It's like extreme hatred for both of them. I don't even know if you can necessarily wait it out. I don't know if he necessarily hates one more than the other. So if I had to answer your question, I would say I don't know if he necessarily hates either one more than the other. And on the topic of the Monkey D family being Marines, I have no clue. Maybe it was the case that they didn't realize Garp was a D-Clan member, and when they realized he was already a huge asset, so they're like, whatever. And then Garp's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to bring my son in the Marines. And they're like, oh, only because it's you, Garp. We found out that you, Garp, are a D-Clan member, but we accept it because you're so strong, and we're going to let your son in because your son is so strong. Which, by the way, did they know that Jaguar was a D-Clan member? Can anyone in chat confirm? Did they know? Do the Marines know that the D-Clan is a Marine member? Well, actually, you know what makes sense to me is that Emu would believe. I have this inkling. I can't necessarily prove this, but chat, I think Emu believes that the D-Clan will band together and fight the One Piece world government. The D-Clan together will go to war with the Jews. I mean, go to war with the Celestial Dragons. But here's the thing. If Emu can get the D-Clan in the Marines, or maybe even in the Holy Knights, then it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm stopping the prophecy, right? Emu's like, how, like, okay, I'm looking at a D-Clan member, right? And I know through prophecy that the D-Clan is going to come and try to fight against me. Well, guess what? If I recruit Garp, then like he's not going to fight against me. I'm putting him on my side to prevent that prophecy. It could be a kind of logic like that for Garp and Saul. I mean, I don't know how else to answer that. I really don't know why they would take in Saul, Garp, and Dragon. I have no clue. But this seems to me one of those things that Oda has considered. I'm no Oda angel, bro. There's a lot of things I complain about in One Piece, but I think this has obviously crossed Oda's mind. He's obviously thought like, okay, am I going to put why would I put a D-Clan in the Marines when the Celestial Dragons hate the D-Clan? Why would I do that? That makes no sense. Unless there was a good reason that Oda had for doing that. Like something logical. And maybe we just don't understand it yet. Maybe we looked past it. Maybe we missed it. I think there's a reason for that. King J, God bless, bro. How you doing, man? God bless you, young king. God bless you, young king. Hold on. Is there a new spoiler? Okay. No, it's just a recent spoiler. How you doing, King J? How you doing, Wingway? I don't think Loki's talking about the actual world. I think he's talking about Emu. Wait, what are you referring to? Anthony Ortiz, God bless, man. How you doing? Yo, I can't believe YouTube rejected my comment of Goy D. Roger. Guys, is YouTube letting you comment that? Dude, you probably can't even post. Can you post the word Goy anymore on YouTube? Is that why? Yo, YouTube flagged the word Goy. Oh my gosh. They literally call us that. And we can't, bro. Let me see. Does YouTube flag the N-word? Chat. Nobody test that. Nobody test that. Do not put the N-word in chat. Do not do that. But I'm just curious. Like, are you allowed to say the N-word, but then like you can't say goy? Which I mean, I guess it's a good thing, right? Because we're the ones getting called goy. We're not calling people goy. I've been getting blue square ads to stand up to J hate. Bruh. Dragon may be like, why are you still working for that parasite? Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why Garp would still work with why Garp would work for the Celestials. We were talking about what Loki meant back in 1130 when he said he would bring the world to its knees. Oh, so you're saying he was talking about Emu essentially when he said world. What does that even mean? Goy? Goy is short for Goyim, and a certain ethnic group who claims that they are the chosen people. They talk very badly about people outside of their group. And the word they use for those people is Goy. So if you look in their books, right, the Celestial Talmud, the Talmud, right, you'll see how they call them cattle, they call them animals, beasts. They don't have rights, all types of stuff. You can actually go online and find the book very quickly. You can literally find it in like 30 seconds. They have it online as like a reference, kind of like how you could find the Bible online in 30 seconds. And you can go find these verses and see it for yourself. If you don't understand why Garp would try to be a buffer between the evil system and citizens best, he can then please explain why Jesus came to Earth to sacrifice himself for trash like us. Are you comparing Garp to Jesus? There's many reasons why I disagree with that comparison, but the first point is that Jesus rebelled against Satan and Emu, but Garp is literally working for Satan. Emu is Satan. He's a Marine. He's working for Satan. Jesus did not work for Satan. Like, Smokey, you can say, oh, well, Garp punched Emu. Yeah, but like he turned around and continued working for him for another 40 years. Meanwhile, Dragon, what did Dragon do? Dragon left the Marines, started the Revs, and even in the Revs, he takes down bad pirates. Have we even seen Garp liberate an island from bad pirates? Have we ever seen that? Give me an example where we saw Garp liberate an island from bad pirates, because we've seen that with Dragon. Dragon's crew, the Revolutionary Army, they liberated Lulusia from bad pirates. I'm not comparing anything. I'm saying Garp is doing the best he can for a normal person to help the most amount of people. Bro, Dragon is the one helping the most amount of people. Dragon's Revolutionary Army is saving islands from bad pirates. We see that at Lulusia. It was pirates overrunning Lulusia. The Revolutionary Army went there and liberated that island. But then wait a second, the Revolutionary Army is also going against the very forces that Garp is serving. Garp is working for the enemy of his son. Garp is working for the enemy of his son and his grandson. Garp can only be redeemed if he was undercover all along and played the long game, the longest game ever. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that notion. He needs this cooking. Yo, L, shut up, man. I don't need any type of cooking. I need to do the cooking. I'm cooking you guys. You guys are coping. You're coping. Garp is serving the devil. He is lit. All right. Let me take you through a walk, because you won't ever catch me working for the devil. Emu, okay, premise one. Garp. All right, like, premise one. Emu is the devil. Premise two. Emu's using and working with the celestial dragons. Premise three. Garp serves the celestial dragons by being a marine. So therefore, Garp works for the devil. Yo, Jesus did not come down to earth and work for the devil. That actually might be one of the most insane comparisons I've ever read, dude. Garp works for Emu, and Emu is the devil. What has Garp done to rebel against the Celestials? Oh, well, he punched Emu at God Valley. And how did that turn out? God Valley got erased. What did the punch even do? The punch did nothing. The punch was pointless. A classic boomer Zogbot. Yo, exactly. Yo, exactly, dude. Exactly. Garp is the classic boomer Zogbot who picked up the Schofield Bible and said, we need to support them. Yo, Garp wanted to send his grandson Luffy to die for Israel. That's actually, wow, incredible. Incredible. Garp wanted his grandson to die for Israel along with his own son, Dragon. You know what? Dragon might be my favorite character. I take all the slander I've ever said about Dragon. You know what? I take it back, bro. Just the fact that he's leading the revs against the world government, that automatically just makes me think that he's the best guy ever. Why is there only one person that's leading a whole militia to overthrow the devils? Bro, the celestial dragons are demons. The celestial dragons are demonic. You would have been happier if Garp had stood aside and did nothing? No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that even with him punching Emu, it doesn't change the fact that they still destroyed the Lucia and eradicated all those guys, and he continued working for them for another 37 years. You could take it back. Just sign the Garp apology. Yo, I'm not doing it, Smokey. I'm not doing it. You're going to have to put a gun to my head. Nah, you got to apologize before you say he's your favorite character. Your dragon disrespect is wild. I apologize. All the dragon slander I've ever said, I take it back. Don't get me wrong. I wish he fought more. I think we all wish he fought more instead of always just falling back. But I tremendously respect Zebek, Zebek too, but I tremendously respect Garp for the simple... I meant dragon. Crap. I tremendously respect Dragon because he is leading an army to rebel against the demonic force of Ismarijoa. I swear Garp haters are going to look as ridiculous as Dragon haters, but y'all are just so unrealistic. It's insane. Okay, so here's the thing, right? You are preying on a theory. The fact of the matter is that Garp dedicated like 70 years of his life serving Israel. And when he retired under the flag of Israel. He never turned his back on Marijoa. He never did. But you have to hope that he was playing the long game the whole time. You have to hope that. I don't have to hope that he served them for 70 years. I don't have to hope that. That's the facts of reality. It's just a fact that after Lelucia ended, or after God Valley's incident ended, he continued working for them for another 37 years. There's no theory in that. There's no hypothesis in that. That's literally the fact of reality. He witnessed the genocide and he's like, yeah, I'm going to still work for them though. I thought the lefties were supposed to argue that like you can't serve anybody that does bad things. Oh, yo, random YouTube user throwing shots right now. Yo, Jacob and Random are about to start beefing, man. Jacob and Harrison, they're about to start beefing. I mean, Jacob and Random. Guys, we're about to witness a fight. Bro, I'm not going to lie. I need my Mihawk costume, bro. I might actually be going to Universal Studios. Bro, $25 for Mihawk's chain on Amazon. Is this even Mihawk's coat? It's not his coat. That's a fake coat. Bro, chat, find me a Mihawk cosplay that doesn't cost $1,000. Bro, Mihawk costume should be Jabra. Nah, man. The Mihawk costume, that's going to be Aura, not Jabra. And I'm not doing a St. Charlo stream. Garp could have been like his son and left that legacy to Dragon, but he let Dragon build it all by himself. Yo, could you imagine how base that would have been? Imagine Garp left with his son and ran the Revolutionary Army. Yo, Emu probably would have fell by now. Garp would have took like half the Marines with him. They would have took down Emu. Garp made his son, Garp abandoned his son for people he doesn't even like. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy, chat. That's crazy talk. Yo, free my boy Dragon. Dragon, I forgive you, bro. You should honestly be fighting more. Dragon, you should be on the front lines every once in a while. You know, like a clash, like something, because this is a shonen manga. No matter what people say, at the end of the day, this is a shonen manga. But you are based for leading an entire army against literally a demonic force running the world. L with the $2 super. God bless you, young king. Thank you. St. Charlo's stream would feed world hunger. Hell no. Bro, I can't do a St. Charlo stream. Yo, $2,000 stream elements, I'll do it. Someone drop $2,000 through stream elements and I'll that's how much I do not want to do it. $2,000 stream elements and I'll go ahead and I'll do a St. Charlo stream. That should let you know how I do not want to do that in any way, shape, or form. Brad, God bless you, bro. Anime parents on food stamps energy. If two guys left the Marines, someone that ruled for nearly a millennium would fall. This is you, Eddie. I'm glad y'all don't write One Piece. Isn't that like saying like a 19-year-old managed to take down a king that ruled the world for 1,000 years? Isn't that what we're rooting for? A 19-year-old taking down a tyrannical king of 1,000 years? Isn't that literally what you're rooting for? Isn't Luffy 19 and you believe he's going to take down Emu, who's been running the world for 1,000 years? People want Garp to do what Kuzan and Dragon did with no help when Garp had no allies outside the Marines. besides Harold, and Harold was on the world government side. Yo, who was on Dragon's side when Dragon left? I bet you someone's going to be like, Vegapunk was on Dragon's side. I respect Dragon for not making drastic moves and plotting for decades after seeing how broken Emu is. Emu is pretty broken. Marijoa is our greatest ally. Don't forget our little side bet, Eddie D. Dragon. He ain't beating two figurelins. Dragon? Hey, don't discredit my boy Dragon. I always had a mustard seed of faith for Dragon, but it was a lot of disappointment. It was a mustard seed of faith, and a pound of disappointment. Mustard seed. Thank you for the super chat, L. God bless you. All right, guys, we've been going on for an hour 50. I think we're gonna wrap this up here. All right. Think we're gonna wrap this up here. This was a very fun stream. These spoilers are nuts. I can't wait to see the long summary. I'm sure you guys are excited too. Oh, from Worst Gen, no sign of Whitebeard after the clash with Rocks this chapter. Yeah, because you know that boy Rocks on his Domi Reversi might be the strongest character we've seen in the story so far. Don't forget you promised $2,000 for Charlos. Dude, who's going to drop $2,000 in one stream for a St. Charlos cosplay? That's so stupid. That'd be the biggest waste of $2,000. Anyways, chat. God bless each and every one of you. Altair 76. It was good talking and even chopping it up. God bless you, young king. Much love, bro. Jacob Harrison, you as well. Take care, young king. Young Smokey, God bless, bro. L, God bless. Jordan, Dawn of Ascension, Viswa, Brad. Each and every one of you, thank you guys so much tremendously. It's always fun debating, trolling, memeing, straw manning. It's always fun. God bless each and every one of you. Take care, guys. Get some good exercise. Get a workout in, go for a walk, push-ups, sit-ups, do something. Take care of yourselves. I want to see you guys live a long life. I want you guys to be happy. I want you guys to be filled with optimism and strength and resilience. I want to see you guys win in all capacities. I want to see you guys have a good job. I want to see you guys succeed in school, whatever it is. I want to see you guys win in all capacities, good relationship, whatever it is. Take care of yourselves, guys. One step at a time. Always try to make little incremental steps in your goals, and you could do it. I would say it would have to be in one stream. It could be a bunch of people, but one stream. And I said stream elements too, but chat, don't take that seriously. Do not do a St. Charlos donation stream. Don't do it. Bad idea. Standy man, God bless you as well, man. I'm going to catch you guys in the long summary spoiler stream, which will be very soon. Chapter reaction stream very soon. I also want to do more open mics. Chat, I want to do open mic streams. I want to even have you guys join the call during streams like this. I just don't think that we have enough callers. It would be so nice if, when I'm streaming, when I'm live right now, I just go in the YouTube chat and I just drop an invite link and you guys hop into the StreamYard. And we just have like 20 people in the back room. We got 20 people backstage, and I just go through each person for like 2 minutes, like rapid pace. You guys hop in, give me your question, dip out. Hop in, give me the question, dip out. I want to start building up way more people that are willing to be callers. But God bless each and every one of you. Take care, everybody. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Take care, chat. Amen.
If the world hates you, just remember, then it has hated me first. If you belong to the world, then the world would love you as its own. But I chose you from this world, and you do not belong to it. That is why the world hates you. Whoever hates me, hates my father also. They would not have been guilty of sin if I had not done among them the things that no one else has done. As it is, they have seen what I did, and they hate both me and my father. They hated me for no reason at all.